Let's talk about habits and have some fun today. Hey, my name is Graham McKenzie. I'm the founder here at ZenPilot, and this is yet another video in the ZenPilot methodology series. If you haven't yet seen the rest of the videos, each point in the methodology is meant to work together. These produce the best results in concert together. And so subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you see the other videos in the methodology series, and go to zenpilot.com/methodology to check out the whole thing. So let's dig into habits. I want you to think back. Think to a handful of recent projects that your team's attempted to take on and that haven't gotten the outcome that you ultimately wanted. And do any of those point back to having the wrong intentions at the beginning? That's extremely rare. Like I'm thinking of a handful of specific examples right now, and it's never an intentions problem, or very, very, very rarely. If we're going to take something on, we think, like we're going in it like we're in it to win it. But when they fail or fall short, it's often because we didn't actually have the habits to support the activity needed to get the outcome that we ultimately wanted. Project management is the exact same way. And so I've got on the screen here our 1-3-5 formula. And I just want to talk about these three keys. So the one in the 1-3-5 formula is the goal that we're after. We're trying to create clarity for everyone in the organization from top to bottom. That's going to look differently depending on your role in the organization. And we believe firmly enough in the importance of clarity that we want to gift that to everyone. To get that, we have to be excellent in all three of these areas: tools, processes, and habits. Tactically, we've got to be great with the tools that we run. Procedurally, we've got to be excellent at the processes that we follow, and the habits that we employ are what lead to behavioral excellence. And when we're excellent in all three of those categories, we produce tremendous results for our clients at tremendous profitability and health for our internal team as well. Well, that all sounds great, but the habits are where the rubber really meets the road. Like, this is the hardest part, the single hardest part to get right. You can hire someone like ZenPilot who knows exactly how to come in and design your ClickUp workspace, make all your tools talk to each other, show you how to get the most out of AI, all those things. We can help you learn from the best practices of other teams and develop the processes that you need to run well. But I think the biggest value that we bring to the table is the system that we have around habits. And so I'm hoping to just give you some of what we've learned and had success with today. But if you continue to knock your head against the wall trying to figure this out and get your team, if you feel like, hey, I'm leading the horses to water and it's just so hard to get them to drink, like normally it's because you're not truly leading them well to water. That's not always the case. So there are times where there's a personnel change that needs to happen. Someone needs to graduate from your organization, perhaps. But I want to just take you through what we found works best for habits. And so I'm just going to teach here for a couple minutes. I hope that this is really a gift for you and helpful for you. If you have questions as we're going through this, will you please leave a comment? And if something here resonates with you, comment on that and let me know so that I understand, hey, what is sticking? How can I articulate this best? I feel like we've got a great system for serving folks, and I'm not always the best communicator, so I love learning from you as the audience to say, hey, that really hit home, or that kind of felt hollow, like that didn't really work for me. All right, so let's dig in here. So to be great at habits, we've got to do a couple different things. And I'm going to flip over here and just pull up from the methodology page. We're going to look at these 4 areas together. So the first one is defining the habits. So we have to be this is clarity again, right? We have to give our team complete clarity on what are the habits that we expect you to have. I expect at ZenPilot that everybody has a startup routine and a shutdown routine every single day. There's a checklist for it that's built as a process and a template. To some people, that feels stifling. That feels like, don't you just trust me? I'll do great work. Like, let me run my own process. To the type of people who thrive at ZenPilot, they love having that gift of clarity. Here's exactly what's expected of you in terms of how you're going to start your day and end your day. You've probably heard the famous story of John Wooden on the first day of practice teaching his players how to tie their shoes. The winningest coach in NCAA basketball history. And he's spending a good chunk of the very first practice that they have together teaching his players how to put on their basketball shoes and tie them correctly. The attention to detail is what he was known for, and that created excellence across their entire organization. It wasn't enough just to teach his players how to tie their basketball shoes, but they couldn't move to step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 without being really clear and consistent in what they do in the basics. So wherever you're going to start and finish, you have to define that really, really clearly for your team. So defining those habits, and I'm going to show you what those look like here in just a minute. The second piece then is sharing the vision and the purpose. So we zoom out from, hey, I've given you these specifics, to what's the vision for a better tomorrow for you, for me, for our entire team, if we all agree to live by these principles. So what is the purpose of having this? Well, for you, in the moment, if it's not in ClickUp, it didn't happen. When you forget to put something in ClickUp and I tell you, hey, that's not good enough, that's going to feel painful. And so you're not going to like that at first. That's totally fine. Where you're going to benefit is you're going to forget once a month. Everyone else is going to forget once a month. And when you go to find that from 3 other people and you can't find it, that's going to be super painful. So when we correct that and now it's all in there, you benefit way more than what it's going to cost you by having everything live inside a single source of truth. So we've got to be really clear on painting a picture for a better tomorrow for the team and being realistic at the same time about what the cost is going to be. There will be a cost associated with doing this really well and being excellent. We're taking practice time away from dribbling and shooting and passing and rebounding and all these things we could be doing to put it on tying our shoes because this matters, because this says something about who we are, what we're building towards, and it creates the type of culture that we need to live in order to reach the goals that we have for ourselves. The next step, the vision piece, is one that tends to come probably the easiest to entrepreneurs, though sometimes they overlook it. But the next piece is the hardest one for most of them, which is training the team on exactly what it's going to mean then. So if I'm going to say, if it's not in ClickUp, it didn't happen, it's not enough for that's a really nice, fun, catchy phrase to say. But what does that actually mean? What does it look like? I can show you examples of 3 different teams who've come to us saying, look, I've got all our stuff in ClickUp. And the way that they've got it all in there doesn't match up. So everything could be in there, and it still would be very difficult for somebody on this other team to find because the methodology is so different. So that's why built into that phrase, we also have follow the framework. And what is the specific framework? Like, all these pieces are meant to work together. So you have to train your team then on what specifically does that look like. If we say due dates matter, okay, well, do they matter a lot? Do they matter a little? Like, who do they matter to? There's all kinds of questions that come off of that. That's our second principle that we want to train the team on. Well, now we've got to train them on what exactly does that mean? What does it look like? And I'll take you through an example of that here in just a minute. So this step of training your whole team, you can't just say, I'm just going to train a couple leaders and hope that that filters down okay. Like, you really need to put the effort into training the team. This is one of the biggest pieces of value. I've probably shared this before on the channel, but every client who works with ZenPilot, the entire team is going to have to go through the ZenPilot ClickUp certification so that they all have this step of training. They all know, what do we mean by each of these principles? How does that play out? What does that actually look like when you go in and you're clicking through in ClickUp? What does this really look like? So training your team is the third component here to building stronger habits. And then the last piece, but the piece that everything else tends to fall apart without some daily accountability. We need a dose of accountability in our lives in so many different areas. And your team is no different, right? We've explicitly said what the rules are. We've shared why they exist. We've trained you how to do these specific things and set you up for success. And then if we walk away at that point, that's like buying all the right gym equipment, the gym membership, getting the meal, the food prep plan, and all the components are there. And then just forgetting to show up and ever check in again after that. Most folks won't have success with that plan. So daily accountability, which we'll talk about more in point number 5 of the ZenPilot methodology, where we walk through exactly what it looks like with consistent accountability, why we need a ClickUp champion, why it's not optional. But we absolutely need some kind of daily accountability. So let's just take a look at these principles and give a little bit of color to, like, well, yeah, but how does this play out in the day-to-day? So if it's not in ClickUp, it didn't happen. What does that mean? Again, we could go back earlier and talk about, hey, what does it mean to follow the framework? How does that all work together? What does it mean that our system is going to mirror our structure? So inside ClickUp, we want to have a specific way that all of our work is in here. There's a set of tasks. It's a due date-driven methodology, right? So our work is showing up using due dates as a proxy for priority. There's a time estimate if we're using time estimates and doing capacity planning and we're doing time tracking in the system. That's going to be in here. So anybody on the team can log in and see, here's what's on my plate today, tomorrow, coming up in the future. And I can see this across my team too. I could jump into like a workload view and see, okay, well, who else has what on their plate as I'm trying to plan out how I will allocate work as well. Does that make sense? Leave a comment if there's any confusion there. The next principle we talk about is due dates matter. And I won't spend as much time on each of these, but what does a due date mean? Well, a due date means if we're doing that forward-looking capacity planning, based on workload type view. That means every task has to have an assignee, it has to have a due date, and it has to have a time estimate. Well, that's great, but let's say I get a little lazy and this goes a couple days in the past. Well, now it doesn't show up when I need it to. If anyone else is looking at my workload, no one's remembering to go back and look at what did you not close out from a week ago. And so we're going to miss out on some of this stuff. Well, what do we do then? Or we've got a situation where we've got all these dependencies that happen on a project. And if you didn't get yours done on the day that you were supposed to get yours done, I can now not get mine done on the day I'm supposed to get mine done. And that throws the whole thing off. So these due dates matter. So what happens when we lose control on due dates and we get behind? What's our process then for how we work through that? So we need to have a plan to share that and address it. If you have any more specific, this is one of the points where folks have all kinds of questions on it. We address all those in the ZenPilot Training Center. If you have any specific questions, drop them in the comments. I'll get to as many as I can. The third item that we have in the methodology, if we pull this up here and we'll zoom back down to where we were, tracking your time. So I'm totally okay. You can see in this methodology picture, in this case, this would be an example. These are our 10 commandments of project management for teams running on ClickUp with the ZenPilot methodology. These are the 10 commandments that we're pushing in there. There are certain teams where that becomes 9 commandments, 11 commandments. There may be a different number. I'm okay with saying, hey, there are times where we're going to choose to ignore all the benefits that would come with time tracking in order to escape the cost of time tracking. And that's absolutely fine. You need to be aware of the trade-offs that you're making if you do that. And we talk about that a little bit here. This is an extra, kind of an extra step that makes sense in a ton of cases and not every single case. And that's fine. But if we're going to do it, everyone's going to do it. The biggest, most colossal waste of time in so many professional services businesses is time tracking where nobody's ever looking at it and we've got 85% accuracy. It's so hard to make any well-informed decisions without really strong adoption across the entire team. Leave a trail means, hey, somebody shouldn't come in and they're finding like little hints here and there. It should be really explicit. Here's what happened. So your activity log built into ClickUp natively is huge, but comments are also really big. Hey, I can't get to this one today. I don't think this impacts anybody, so I'll push it to tomorrow. Like that kind of trail, what happened? Why did we have to change the due date? If anyone's impacted, did they get notified about that? They should have. And there should be a clear reason and explanation if there's something that needs to get said to a client or told to a vendor or communicated to another team internally. All of that has to be solved for here. Okay, let's keep going. Follow the framework. We've talked about that before. Build assets, this whole mindset of, hey, did you figure out a cool way to improve our process? Well, that needs to get sent back to the team who reviews our processes, and those templates need to get updated so that we can do this a better way. Process lives where the work gets done. If you didn't see the last video in this series where we talked about what does that mean to make the process live where the work gets done? What does it mean to have a knowledge base and like all this documentation available for folks who need it, but really just the base core level of documentation available for those who already have a base level of competency in what they're doing. They're used to doing the work. We just need to make sure that they check kind of the core boxes. What would that look like? That should all be built out here into what we have. So a checklist might look like this, and this is going to look different than the very first time that you ever do it, the level of training that we want to give you. So that's making the process live where the work gets done. We need a way to plan for the unplanned. This is another, we'll have a video coming up on this. What does it mean to plan for the unplanned? It means different people at your firm have different ratios of known versus unknown work. What can we predict and what can we not predict? And the biggest mistake we can make with capacity planning is pretending that we know what's coming for roles where we don't know a high percentage of what's coming. Building healthy habits is all about encouraging folks in this way. Hey, these take time. These are the healthy habits. So we're clearly saying some habits are healthy, some are unhealthy. Sorry, we do discriminate against habits in our firm, and at your firm, you should as well. You should clearly say these habits are healthy, these are not. There are some of these that are always unhealthy in any context, and some of these that are always healthy in any context. And then there's a whole nother bucket that are healthy in this context and unhealthy in this context, really dependent on how the team operates. So in a team that has a largely spoken oral culture, they're talking to each other all the time. You picking up the phone or you walking into somebody's office and talking to them, that is a super healthy way to attack it. In an extremely async environment, think of like WordPress or some of the companies that are kind of well known for running, or Automatic, well known for being very async written documentation cultures. Doing that same thing will be deemed unhealthy and it'll be unproductive across the entire team. You're disrupting flow for a lot of folks. We need to be clear on that. And then the build piece of this is super important. The expectation is not that everybody masters this on day one. The expectation is that the core stuff that we've agreed to is important enough that we're going to work to build those habits, and we're going to do it together. And the last component, but one of the more important ones, is that this is not personal. It's not a personal attack on you when we say, hey, I know you love picking up the phone, but the way that we've agreed to work together is that we're going to message in this way first. Either that's going to work for you or it's not going to work for you. But this is not a personal attack on you at all. This is just a standard that we've agreed to together. And so we need to live out our commitments to each other. And when you're corrected and encouraged and prompted and reproved in a healthy way back towards, hey, we got to change what we're doing here. These due dates actually matter. You can't, I know it's really nice for you because of how you're used to working to just let things go overdue. Never change those due dates because, hey, that saves me a click or two, right? Well, it throws everything else off in this environment. And that's not a personal attack against you. It's purely hey, this is the way things need to work for things to work well in our environment with the standards that we've chosen to set. So those are the 10 habits. And I think we'll wrap this video up having run through each of those. And there's some really helpful video content in this series that'll take you through a lot of these different points, right? So there's a lot of what we're really trying to do here is say, hey, we're going to train folks on each of these aspects. Most of them are covered in the methodology. People don't need to watch the entire methodology series for most folks in the organization to get kind of those bullet points pulled out and emphasized for them. But the piece that I just cannot emphasize enough is like, I would rather take a team working with slightly outdated tech, with not the most well-documented processes. I'll bet on the team who's got that combination with just rock-solid habits that they've built over time, walking and marching in lockstep together, over the team that's got the coolest setup and automations and integrations. They've got thousands of pages of documentation, and everyone's playing along. They're marching to the beat of their own drum. That is such a challenging environment to be successful in. So healthy shared habits beat the best of intentions. If you got any questions, you disagree with anything I shared here, leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the whole methodology series at zenpilot.com/methodology, and we'll see you next time.